Today, we're diving into the haunting world of Kazuo Ishiguro's novel, Never Let Me Go. And let me tell you, this isn't just a story. It's a profound ethical puzzle that takes our deepest beliefs about being human, about art, and about empathy, and turns them completely inside out. So, let's get into it. Let's start with a question we probably all think we know the answer to. Does engaging with art, reading books, watching films, make us better people? I mean, the common assumption is a big yes, right? That stories inherently build up our empathy and our morality. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if it's more complicated than that? I mean, this quote right here from the philosopher Martha Nussbaum pretty much captures that dominant belief perfectly. The idea is that literature is kind of like a moral gym. It's where we go to exercise our empathy, and that in turn makes us better, more responsible citizens. And this promise that art leads to empathy and that empathy leads to ethical action, it's a huge deal. It's a cornerstone of how we value the humanities. It's basically why we teach literature in schools. We believe it's a direct path to a more just and caring world. But this is exactly where Ishiguro's novel comes in and presents a devastating problem. It suggests the exact opposite. Never Let Me Go shows us a world where empathy and care don't prevent violence. They actually coexist with it. In fact, they might even be the very tools that make systemic violence possible in the first place. So, how does this novel just systematically deconstruct our most comforting ideas? Well, we're going to look at how it uses language, how it portrays art, and how it ultimately relies on storytelling to ask some deeply, deeply unsettling questions about what it means to be human. The first thing you notice is the language. The world of the clones is governed by this set of soft, almost gentle words that are hiding an absolutely brutal reality. It's the banality of evil, really, expressed through this calm, bureaucratic language. Okay, take the word carer. It sounds positive, right? But in the novel's world, a carer is a clone assigned to comfort other clones while they go through their organ donations. It's a temporary role they play right before their own donations begin. So here, care isn't a virtue, it's just a procedural step on an assembly line of death. Then you have donation. We associate that word with a generous, life-saving gift. But for the clones, it means the mandatory, surgical harvesting of their vital organs, one by one, until their bodies just give out. There's no choice. It is not a gift. And finally, completion. This is the word they use when a clone dies after their final organ has been harvested. It's not called a death, it's a completion, like finishing a project or fulfilling a purpose. The language itself turns a person into a product. So you put all these terms together and you get this absolutely chilling conclusion. In this world, care is not some ethical force that fights against injustice. No. It's a technology of governance. It's a system designed to keep the clones emotionally invested and psychologically exhausted, which ensures they comply and pacifies any hint of resistance. This brings us to this second huge theme in the book, the role of art. For the clones at their special school, Hailsham, this question isn't abstract at all. They believe, they hope, that their creative work is this high-stakes test of their very humanity. And this table just illustrates the central tragedy so perfectly. I mean, look at this disconnect. You have the clones, Kathy and Tommy, who believe their art is all about expressing their inner life, their love, their souls. They hope it might even earn them a deferral, a temporary break from the donations. But then you have their guardians, the authorities. For them, art is purely instrumental. It's just evidence to be collected and evaluated for a political purpose. And here it is, the devastating truth, delivered by their former headmistress, Miss Emily. The entire art program at Hailsham wasn't to enrich the clones' lives. It was an experiment to prove to the outside world that these beings, who were literally created for organ harvesting, even had souls in the first place. And this reveals the novel's core critique. Even when their humanity is proven through their art, nothing changes. Their fate is sealed. It's a powerful indictment of this idea that recognition is enough. It shows that simply being seen as human does not guarantee you'll be treated as human. So in the end, art in Never Let Me Go offers no redemption. The novel powerfully critiques that core humanist idea we talked about, that seeing someone's beautiful, soulful expression will naturally lead to moral action. Ishiguro shows that it's entirely possible to appreciate the art while still sanctioning the total destruction of the artist. Now, to really understand the system at play here, we need to bring in a key concept: biopolitics. This is a term from the philosopher Michel Foucault, and it describes a form of power that doesn't just rule over land, but manages life itself. It's all about regulating populations to decide whose lives are deemed valuable and worth preserving and whose are considered expendable. The clones are the ultimate subjects of biopolitics. They exist in this post-human state. They're produced by biotechnology. They're not born. They exist simultaneously as people with feelings and as commodities, valued only for their parts. They are denied any legal or moral personhood, and they're explicitly excluded from the category of the human, so that their lives can be used to sustain the lives of normal people. So, if art fails them, and care is just a tool of control, is there any hope at all? The novel seems to suggest one fragile, flickering form of agency, and it's found not in protest or rebellion, but in the simple act of telling a story. The entire novel we're reading is the narrator, Kathy, telling her story. It is an act of remembrance. By ordering her memories, by sharing them, she reclaims the small piece of dignity. She asserts that her life and the lives of her friends had meaning, even when the entire system was designed to erase them completely. This act of storytelling functions as a quiet form of resistance. First, it creates identity. The clones tell stories about their possibles, the people they might have been cloned from, giving themselves an origin story where none exists. Second, it forms kinship. Shared memories bind them together like a family. And finally, by telling her story to us, the reader, Kathy's narrative preserves their meaning and demands our ethical recognition, moving them from biological objects to subjects who mattered. And this brings us right back to the beginning. The novel's real power isn't about making us feel morally uplifted. No, its ethical force lies in its ability to unsettle us, to force us to recognize our own potential implication in systems of harm. It doesn't offer reassurance. It holds up a mirror. And this leaves us with a final, really challenging question. Never Let Me Go denies us the comfort of feeling empathy and then just closing the book, content that we're good people. Instead, it forces us to confront our own capacity for passive complicity. So, if a story doesn't reassure us but instead makes us feel implicated, have we in fact engaged in a more profound ethical act? That is the unsettling power of this novel, and it's a question it leaves for every single one of us to answer.